Hi everyone, I'm Jessica Bartels from Help You Sell Full Service Realty in Canal Valley, and today I am here with Mark Lavelle, owner of Hatch Cafe and Market in Agora Hills. His wife Jordy, who could not be here today, she is kind of like the decorator and creative genius behind all of this. She picks out a lot of the brands that are in the market, and yeah, I mean, I kind of want to just get rolling and start asking some questions.
Sounds good to me. Wonderful.
Okay, cool. So, what made you decide to open this business?
I have been in the hospitality business for a really long time and have opened up many places. And something that I've always had in the back of my mind when I was done traveling a lot and doing these grandiose things was to open a small little marketing cafe in kind of a neighborhood that I lived in. It was kind of like this retirement dream where I was that old quirky guy that you can go visit over at the cafe. So honestly, it was there, and I was in the process of actually going to purchase another restaurant in the surrounding area, and this became for lease. And my family and I live around the corner, and I was personally starving for like something more mom and poppy that had, you know, kind of chef-driven kind of quality food that I could hang out at. And I just was talking to Jordy, and I was like, listen, I really think I'm going to give this pipe dream a shot. And you know, we're coming up on our 2-year anniversary now. So that's kind of where it all really stemmed from. It's just something that's been sitting in the back of my head for a long period of time. Came sooner than I expected because I'm not ready to retire. But it's something that I just thought would be, it was just the right community at the right time.
Totally. And I feel like you guys have created such an incredible atmosphere here that's very like family friendly and family oriented and like really an enjoyable place for families to come.
And thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And for me, what it always came down to is creating a package. And it starts from the second you walk in the door, from the choice of music to the decor that my wife and I did, and then ultimately the staff's attitude and of course my brother-in-law who did the menu for us. The idea is it all kind of works together. There's not like one piece that stands out. It's this collective whole, and when you walk in, I want you to feel like you've walked into a friend's house.
Definitely. And what I really loved about, especially coming with my husband and my daughter, the first thing she gravitated towards was this little section over here where there's crayons and craft paper. And it was such an inviting environment, and that's what really made me be like, hey, like, we should do this interview. It would be really incredible.
And that was the idea again, because listen, you live in Agora, the surrounding areas. Really one strong reason is the schools district.
Definitely.
And so I knew the radius around this restaurant, there's nothing but preschool straight up to high schools.
For sure.
Right? And so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 high schools in a 5-mile radius.
Yeah.
And so that's it. Plus we have young kids, right? We've got a 7, 10, and 12-year-old and a new one on the way. So I knew that engaging the children is it's peaceful for the parents when they're here, right? Because they're always entertained doing themselves.
Yeah.
And it just creates that warm community, family environment.
Definitely. I love that.
Thank you.
And what ultimately, drives you to do what you do now? What motivates you?
For me, it's so funny. I love people, and I love engaging and having conversations with people. And when you come in, whether I'm here or not, I want you to feel like you've left, again, a friend's place, the proverbial hug. Like,
totally.
It's amazing. But if I am here, I love engaging and getting to know about you and you about us. At the end of the day, this all is a very personal situation for me and my wife, so Jordy. So like, everything in the market, the food, it's like these are our favorite things. So we're inviting you really into our house, and so that to me is, you know, coming from Italian descent, family dinners were always big, and entertaining was always big. So for me, that's where the drive comes from, just seeing the smile on the people's faces and knowing that the community appreciates what we're bringing to the table.
Totally. I love that, and I think you can totally feel that when you walk in here. You guys have done an incredible job.
And we have achieved that.
Totally. And what would you say has surprised you most about this business or running the business?
Luckily, again, I've been in this business for a long time, and I've opened up over 80 restaurants and bars for others, and there wasn't too many surprises. I'm very cautious before I jump into something. What I can say challenging is, you know, I call myself a diamond in the rough here, and the outreach in a community like this is probably the most surprising and challenging thing. Word of mouth can only get you so far, and there's not a sort of print magazine, so the constant outreach and reminder that we're here is probably the most surprising, I would say the most challenging part of the business.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys have been doing a lot on social media recently.
And I'm social media inept, unfortunately. Jordy's really good at it.
Awesome.
And I have a friend of mine that helps me work on it.
Yeah.
I try to engage it the best I can. I hate to say that I'm an old school guy, but I am trying.
Totally.
I'm definitely trying to adapt. And
I mean, you guys
engage.
have a presence on Instagram,
That's
which is
what
awesome.
we need, right? That's what today is all about.
Totally. And I honestly think that the more people come here and the more you guys just put yourself out there on social, and I mean, by even doing this interview, things like that, I mean, the more people are just going to hear about it.
100%. And I need to stop having this stigma against social media, because you are right. It's a way for me to take the atmosphere that we have in here and display that
100%.
onto the net, so people that do engage, if they can't be here, can still engage with new items in the market, new specials on the menu, or just what's going on in our lives. So it just feels like that warm community vibe. So
for sure, and I feel like you guys have the perfect situation here for social media and for that like relatable content, especially between you and Jordy and your kids, and and you know, engaging them in it and showing like these are some amazing brands that we're carrying. This is our menu. Like this is what we're launching this week or whatever. Like you guys have such an amazing vibe and like personality that, I mean, you're perfect for it. So.
And again, thank you, and I appreciate that. But again, I think that's, you know, it's hospitality.
Totally.
It just it's that simple. It's you have to have that old school handshake and a look in the eye and a smile and an engagement, right? Because otherwise it just falls on deaf ears, and you're just like someone else in the business that doesn't really have that, you know, je ne sais quoi, if you will. We want to always be remembered for that. Like I just left something very friendly and comfortable.
That's what's going to keep people coming back.
I hope so.
And I know, I mean, you've talked about how much you love your customers and your clients, but is there anything kind of odd or like any weird requests that you've received in the past?
Honestly, in my old life, for sure. But since Hatch Cafe and Market opened, no. We've been fortunate. The customers have been engaging. They've been supportive, and luckily, no. We have not any strange
That's
requests
awesome.
at this point.
Yeah, that's great. And then what about some goals over the next year or so? What's the idea for you guys?
One, to make money.
Yeah.
And touch as many people as we can. It's great. Like our kids are in school here, and I'm now part of one of the board of directors in the Chamber of Commerce for the Lavelle Valley. And it's to continue just to build up our community and bring it closer together. Ultimately, expansion is not something we're afraid of, and strategically would make sense. And when the right situation comes in, for sure, we would engage that and move forward. Because this particular location is challenging that it's small. And so there's a dinner menu that I've got that we haven't even introduced, because we don't do dinner here yet. There's smoothies, there's a cold coffee setup that I want to do. We don't have room for properly here. So I haven't fulfilled my entire vision yet, and it's all sitting there, but this was a great way to anchor it and start it in a very small scenario and really build on the brand and build on the concept.
I love that. That's amazing. So much in the future, I think.
Plus, we have a child coming in July.
Totally.
So that's the number one priority.
Yeah, totally. And then what about some, so we're going to kind of switch gears. Okay. I want to talk about the neighborhood. How long have you and your family lived here?
So I'm coming up a little over 4 years now, and Jordy's on 6. It's funny, I'm from the East Coast. I grew up in a suburb of Boston. I lived in Manhattan for 10 years, and I've actually just hit my 15th year here on the West Coast. And I said I would never live in a suburb again, because I was always living in big cities and traveling around everywhere and always in hotels and on the go.
For sure.
And then, you know, when Jordy and I we knew each other years back, but when we got reintroduced as our next phase of our lives, she was out here, and I was like, wow, it's quiet and it's clean and people are nice, and all of a sudden I fell in love with it. And it's just, I love being able to go to a grocery store, whether it's Trader Joe's or Costco. There's engagement and conversation. Yes, it's helpful because people recognize me from Hatch, but people, I love that. Like,
Yeah.
you know, New York or on the streets anywhere else, even on the west side, it's a quick look and a gaze, but
Yeah.
it's a stop and a handshake and a conversation, and I do love that small town vibe.
Definitely.
You know, and I do love, again, it's spatial, it's quiet, you know, 20 minutes you're on the beach,
Yeah.
45 minutes you're up in Ojai, 45 minutes you're downtown LA, so you're really kind of anchored by a lot, but you get to have that family-esque peace and quiet and space,
For
things
sure.
to do, so.
And that kind of leads me to my next question of like, what do you love most about our community?
I just, again, having kids in schools,
Yeah.
I appreciate that immensely. You know, actually the YMCA that's about to open up right here. It's amazing as I continue to either make a delivery for a catering gig or going for the Chamber of Commerce and going to a ribbon cutting somewhere. I'm amazed by how it just keeps on rolling out. It just never stops. Whether it's a new
Definitely.
home community or another park, or you know, it's just nice to be able to have the kids, you know, have the land for a small yard here at home,
Yeah.
but also in 3 minutes you could be at a playground, or you could be at a tennis court or a basketball court or just a grassy field to go play soccer
Yeah.
or play football or whatever, and that's great. And so I do love all that aspect of I guess I could say, the family life. But that being said, I think there's a lot of things that are charming that people forget about the community, that we do have places like a Hatch or some other restaurants that are in the neighborhood that are, I don't use the word edgy, but more forward thinking
Totally.
and bring that kind of environment. So it's nice to have these little pockets of things that, and we don't become so saturated that it becomes just a hustle or
Another
bustle.
city.
Exactly.
Definitely.
So.
I completely agree. And what would you say, like, do you think that we need any improvements in the area? I mean, I know that we've talked about in the past too, like, just how many things our community is doing to, like, bring more, like, walkability to our area, especially with what they're doing on Thousand Oaks Boulevard,
Right.
the new YMCA that's opening up. They're really trying to make this more of, like, an environment and, like, a community.
100%. I think that knowing the mayor and town, the city hall, and again being part of the chamber, so you get to see what the Conejo Valley is doing
Totally.
on the growth side of things. And I think there's a plethora. There's so many businesses that exist out here. Right? The Rams office is here. You know, you've got State Farm, you've got the banks. There's
Yeah,
nonstop. There's
totally.
Amgen,
Yeah.
2 campuses, one here, one up in Newbury Park.
Yeah.
And so you've got the infrastructure, you've got the foot traffic if you need it. I'd like to see some more people taking chances on restaurants or lounge scene or things like that, giving some people a shot here. I think, it's not as saturated as it is on the west side, but there's enough people here that are starving for those kind of things without it
Definitely.
being, again, like you said, overrun to the point where it becomes the 2 biggest city.
Totally.
But still have those pockets of things to do. And
Yeah.
it is, listen, the last 4 years I've watched things open and it is growing.
Yeah.
And it always, the great thing is, Agora Hills specifically, but again, the Pacific Valley, their foot is on the gas pedal, not at 60 miles an hour, but they're moving fast enough forward, and they're strategically thinking about how to grow, but also how to maintain the schools, the safety, the cleanliness, the quietness, and they're really strategic
Really
about that. So
incredible.
I think it's great, and the community is very vocal about what they want and don't want, and things take time. Nothing's going to happen overnight, but I do think that the growth is in the right direction, and the thought process is for that growth, with also maintaining what it currently is and what it's known for, which is nice.
Definitely. And I want to ask you what you think, or how important you feel it is to shop local.
I mean, listen, you're talking to a kid, it's someone again that's traveled extensively,
Yeah.
and lived in major cities and those kind of things. And when someone like us takes a shot, it's really important, because this is a passion of mine, and no one just opens a business they want to make money, they want to be happy doing what they're doing, and I love what I do, fortunately. But I do think it's important to support, and again, I have that with this community. They really have. When I opened these doors almost 2 years ago, I didn't have social media, I didn't advertise, I didn't tell anybody. I just opened the doors and it was like, I hope people stumbled in.
Definitely.
And that started happening, and they started telling friends and talking to the doctor's office or writing on next door. And that's kind of how this little thing has grown and snowballed. At times it slows down a little too much for me, because we do have the spring breaks and the holidays where things get a little quieter, because it's that type of a community. And that's where my job is to continue the outreach to the outside communities and people who don't know that we're still here. So.
That's great. I love that. And what would you say is one of the more memorable experiences you've had with one of your customers? Or just in general, I mean, as a business owner, as someone, working in Agora Hills, like what would you say?
What things that I love is like when someone comes in for the first time and I'm able to engage them in a conversation.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, wow. And to see that reaction from, again, everything that we've tried to create here, and when they get it, it's really rewarding. And then that one little engagement could lead to a catering at a school, or, I had a woman that came in recently, not even come in, I got a phone call. She had just flown in from New York, Googled Agora Hills because she had a meeting in the area, and she's like, oh my God, this looks great, and we started engaging in conversations, and again, the conversation led to nuances of knowing places that we, New York had visited, not together, but just meaning, she knew our histories were there, and then I ended up catering lunch for about 15 people for a business meeting out in the area, and she wrote back, she's like, this was unbelievable, and next thing you know, because of that, for a 15-person luncheon, I was feeding the entire office of 100 people 4 days later. So those are the kind of things that are really rewarding for me, is that, again, in your mind, it's always a little bit more magical sometimes than the execution. But when I see those moments, to me, are just what makes this all work.
Definitely, and I think like you talked about, just coming in here and like getting to know people and meeting people, seeing friendly faces, seeing them come back, creating this like really great vibe and environment. Like I'm sure that's like so gratifying.
It's one of,
I mean, even my husband and I coming in that morning, like we love when the owners are in here working, sweeping the floors, doing the deal. Because at the end of the day, like this is your baby, this is your home.
100%. And I've learned, it always starts from the top. And, the staff, it's funny, they prefer me engaging in conversations like that, because when I have any sort of responsibility, it tends to fall because I'm too busy engaging with customers. But I'm the first one to grab a broom or go fix a toilet because it's broken, or whatever needs to get done, because it has to get done, right?
Sure.
And then nothing is off limits. And if I gotta get back behind the line and cook, it will be okay, but I'll do it. But yeah, that's just being an owner, right? That's just taking responsibility for your business.
100%.
And if I don't do that stuff, how do I expect anyone else that works with me to do it?
Totally. It sets the tone for your
100%.
atmosphere.
100%.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to wrap this up with just asking if you have anything really cool and exciting coming up that you want your viewers to know.
No, I think at the end of the day, I can't believe we're already rolling into May. It's mind-boggling to me. But the community's been through a lot. We had a very rough November, and for anybody that lost anything at all, obviously our hearts go out. But we were fortunate that we didn't lose things. So we used Hatch. We were feeding the first responders. We were able to, through Hatch and our social media, raise money and clothing and help out a lot of people. There were a lot of people, especially in this community, that lost everything. And it's sad for anybody, but when you see a child that's lost every toy and every stuffed animal and every piece of clothing, it's heart-wrenching. And so the community bounced back, and that was amazing. And as I continue to try to grow the business and the outreach in the community, we're now serving food at the pool and the country club across the street at the Lake Lindale Country Club, which is exciting for us, and I think for that community as well, because it's just part of the community, so that's really
I love that. I grew up going to summer camp.
Okay, and I just met with them, and I said, listen, if we'll serve food for the kids, and like, any parents that don't want to bring in their lunches, we'll do the food. We'll bring a menu together, and they can do that. So that's, again, to me, that's, again, yes, it's business and it's business growth, but it's, again, being part of the community and being, I have a lot of children that come through here. I've got middle schoolers, and now a couple of them in high school, but they'll come through here once or twice a week to get their food, and it's really good, nice to see that it's home cooked. We make all of our own lemonades, make all of our own salad dressings, it's family recipes, and it's all made in-house, right? And again, I hate to say made with passion, of course it is, but it's delivered with passion. And again, that's the idea, is that warm family environment is really what we're going for.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
And that's really it. Come in and see us, please, please, please.
Thank you so much.
And the only one, I guess one last thing I forgot, we also, before I forget, we do have the market, which I think there'll be some sort of pictures of, or we do gift baskets, whether it's housewarming or larger things like that. We do little gift boxes. I always like to, some of the products that we have ultimately are some of our favorite things, whether it's salts or olive oils or jams or nut butters, candy bars, because I'm a sweet tooth. All these little things just you know, it's again, it's just an extension of our passion and trying to bring more than just serving food to the community.
100%.
So
That's awesome.
that's
And we'll
it.
do a little run through
Cool.
of the market too.
Awesome.
All right, you guys, if you want to know anything else about Hatch, about Mark, about his wife, Jordy, make sure to check out their Facebook, their Instagram, and come and pop in and visit with them.
And you can check our website at hatcheatery.com.
Perfect. And it's Hatch Eatery, at Hatch Eatery for your Instagram.
Instagram,
and
yeah.
Facebook.
100%.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.